Have you ever been in that place where you're weighing two options, and both seem like they could work, but something just doesn't sit right? You've done the analysis. You've asked for advice. You've gone back and forth with pros and cons, and somehow you're still stuck. Not because you don't care, but because you do. Big career and life decisions rarely feel simple. They're layered. There's your growth to consider, but also your family, your timing, your sense of purpose. And while people love to say, go with your gut, what happens when your gut is pulling in 3 different directions? Over the years, I've had to make a number of decisions that shaped my career and my life. Some of them worked out. Others didn't. But with each one, I started noticing the patterns, the things that helped me choose better. Not perfectly, but better. And today, I want to share 5 principles that have helped me move forward when I was torn between good options or unsure if I was making the right call. This isn't a formula, it's a reflection, one that might help if you're in that space right now, between what's known and what's next. Principle 1, put people first. Not just the people around you, but also the person you're becoming. During the pandemic, my job assignment was cancelled. I was asked to return to Aberdeen, where I'd previously been based, but we'd just started to settle in London. My wife had begun a university course she deeply cared about. My son had started nursery. And London, career-wise, was where key decisions were happening. It was where I needed to be if I wanted to grow. And yet, it wasn't the safe choice. There was no guaranteed role waiting. Financially, I'd be carrying 2 sets of bills, Aberdeen and London. And the easiest thing to do, the expected thing, was to go back. But I didn't. We stayed. There was genuine fear. What if staying was the wrong move? What if I was risking stability, finances, even reputation? That decision wasn't just about convenience. It was about alignment. It was about asking, what future are we trying to build, and what does it cost to stay in position for it? And that choice, hard as it was, set the stage for the next big move, a pivot into a commercial role that changed the course of my career. Principle 2, choose growth over comfort. There's a point in every career where the safe option starts to feel familiar. You know how to do the job. You know the people. You can navigate the challenges in your sleep. It's stable, predictable, comfortable. And that's exactly when the harder question creeps in. Am I still growing here? Or just coasting? At one point in my journey, I knew the answer to that question. I was in a strong technical role, performing well, ticking all the boxes. But I had this growing desire to make a broader impact, strategically, commercially. That desire didn't come out of nowhere. Years earlier, I'd completed an MBA over 3 years, part-time, alongside my full-time work. Not because I was chasing a title, but because I wanted to understand how the work we did connected to value at a bigger level. And yet, when the time came to make the shift, I hesitated. Because change, especially mid-career, can feel risky. You're not starting from zero, but it can feel like it. There's a gap between what you know and what you'll have to learn fast. But here's what I've learned. Comfort doesn't compound into growth. Challenge does. I made the leap. I moved from a role I was thriving in to one I'd have to learn on the go. And it was hard, but it grew me. It opened doors I didn't know were available, and eventually helped me build the foundation I stand on today. Principle 3, seek insight beyond yourself. When you're stepping into the unknown, it's easy to feel like you need to have all the answers. But one of the most important lessons I've learned is this. You don't need to be certain. You need to be curious. When I was preparing to move into a commercial role, I had no clear idea where to begin. I knew I wanted to pivot, but I didn't know what department to aim for, which team would be the best fit, or even what the day-to-day would look like. So I did something simple, but powerful. I started talking to people, not just 1 or 2. I reached out to 19 different colleagues. Some were in roles I was considering. Others were in adjacent spaces. And the conversations weren't interviews. They were open. What do you love about your work? What's challenging? What does growth look like from where you sit? Each conversation gave me something. Not always clarity, but filters. I started to see what didn't resonate, what environments didn't fit, what I was willing to compromise on and what I wasn't. And in the end, it wasn't one big aha that made the decision. It was the slow layering of perspective, experience, and lived insight that helped me narrow things down. From that place, the next step became clearer. Not crystal clear, but clear enough to move. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is pause and listen, not to confirm what you already know, but to discover what you haven't yet considered. Principle 4, act fast once you're clear. There's a point in every decision-making process where the picture starts to come into focus. Not perfectly, not completely, but enough. You've gathered insight. You've weighed the trade-offs. You've listened, reflected, considered, and there's a sense, deep down, that you know what to do. That's the moment that matters. Because the truth is, clarity doesn't always arrive at 100%. Often, it shows up at 70%. And when it does, the worst thing you can do is wait for the final 30. I've learned this the hard way. There have been moments in my journey where I had a window to act, and I hesitated. Not because the opportunity wasn't good, but because I was hoping for one more confirmation, one more signal, one more sign. But some decisions are time sensitive. There's a season for them, a momentum, and when that window passes, so does the opportunity. Sometimes movement is the answer. Not because everything is certain, but because you're clear enough to take the next step. Principle 5, it's okay to change your mind. This is one I didn't fully embrace until later in my career. Because for a long time, I thought, if I've made the decision, if I've taken the leap, then I need to stick with it, see it through, make it work. And there's value in commitment. But sometimes, what looked right from a distance just doesn't feel right once you're in it. A year after I made my pivot into a commercial role, I started to feel it. There were things I liked, things I learned, but something was off. The role wasn't quite the right fit. Not for my strengths, not for where I felt I could really contribute long term. And that realization didn't come with failure. It came with information. And that information became the seed of a new decision. Within 18 months, I made another shift. This time into a role that aligned far better with who I was becoming. One that stretched me, but also made space for my full skill set to thrive. And that taught me something I wish I'd learned earlier. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to adjust based on new information. You're allowed to grow and let your decisions grow with you. Staying stuck out of pride or fear of what people might think is not strength. It's self-sabotage. The goal was never to get it perfect. The goal is to keep becoming and to choose again when the time comes. So let's bring it together. These are the 5 principles that have helped me make tough career and life decisions, and might help you too. 1. Put people first, especially the ones at home. 2. Choose growth over comfort, even when it's not the safe option. 3. Seek insight beyond yourself. Let others widen your lens. 4. Act fast once you're clear, don't wait for perfect. And 5. Remember, you're allowed to change your mind. Maybe you're in that in-between space right now. You've been sitting with the decision. You've played out the scenarios, second-guessed the risks. You want to move, but something's still holding you. Here's a question to sit with. What's one principle from today that you need to lean into right now? Is it clarity? Is it courage? Is it permission? And here's the second question. What's one small step you could take this week to move forward? Just one. A conversation, a journal entry, an application, a decision you finally stop postponing. Because sometimes momentum isn't about the leap, it's about the nudge. If this resonated, I'd love to stay connected. Join other thoughtful professionals who subscribe to the newsletter at www.thefacelesscoach.com. Each week, I share reflections, tools, and honest strategies for navigating career, purpose, and growth. And if this helped you, subscribe to the channel. There's more where this came from. Until next time, be honest about what matters. Be brave enough to act, and be kind enough to let yourself grow. We at The Faceless Coach believe in you. You've got this.